Loktar friends. Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, everyone's favorite Orc Warrior, and I have another Orc Mode workout for you guys today. And yeah, this deload's going good. Being able to deload all my lower body stuff, just my squats. I've reduced my deadlift slightly, but my squats significantly. Oh, I'm feeling so much better already. It's like my legs and my right hip are doing so much better. That pulled muscle in my groin is doing better. Like everything is healing up. Some stuff's still a little tender, but noticeably improving. I think I'm going to go ahead and stick this deload out all the way through the week. Yes, I know that makes it longer than a 1 week deload, because I think I started it Friday of last week, so we'll push it all the way through Saturday of this week, and that'll let me work on my bench and other stuff more, and just my grip and everything else, and then we'll get back into actually doing some squatting. Now, I threw some face pulls in at the end, because I had someone ask me could I demonstrate face pulls, and we'll get to that when we get to it. But yeah, because I do face pulls almost every day. They're just part of my normal training. It's one of the few fluff and pump exercises I use and promote, and I've done so for many years. If you guys recall, I was filming face pulls like 5 years ago, even when I was living abroad, before I came home to Texas, or Tejas as many call it here. It's pretty much Duratar when you get to the western part, you know. So, bench press. Increased bench again this week. We micro-loaded up 2.5 pounds. I can tell at this point that adding 2.5 pounds a week is gonna add up real quick. It's starting to get relatively heavy now, to where I'm sitting here going, man, I don't know how many more weeks I can keep this up. We'll see how I feel at the end of this squat deloading, but yeah, I was definitely feeling it in my chest today. Weights are feeling a little heavier now, now that I'm up over 330. And doing fairly heavy back off work at this point. So yeah, I did a nice strong pause with 332.5 close grip, and it felt RPE 9, maybe a little more. So we're getting up there in terms of intensity for me relative to my strength. But all this back off work is working, because you guys remember a few months ago, everyone's like, why are you not bothering to increase your bench? Why are you just doing 315? Because I wanted to work on other lifts, and now I can put a little more focus into my bench because I'm not doing a lot of upper body stuff, at least not every day. Now it's just a set of pull-ups, some face pulls on occasion, some cheek curls, I'm not doing the press every day. I'm not doing a heavy weighted chin up with plates every day. Now I can focus on my bench as a primary upper body exercise. So I'm doing all this back off work. I'm doing 3 sets of triples after my heavy single is back off, and it's allowing me to actually get some volume in, and my bench is going up. I'm predicting I'm going to get at least 1 more week of the micro loading, so we'll probably be at 335 as a daily by next week. And then once I start adding this heavy squatting back in, when I finish the squat deload, I might not be able to keep ramping this bench anymore. I may have to let it just chill for a few weeks and just see what it does. We'll play it by ear. That's honestly I'm going to have to do. I'm just going to have to see how it goes. But the 332.5 went up pretty fast. As you guys can see, it wasn't a grinder. I had a little bit left in the tank, but it's improved substantially. Like I said, I'd like to be at 350 by the end of the year. We'll see where it goes. 345 wouldn't be bad though. But 350 is just kind of a nice benchmark. That tree fitty. Sound like the Loch Ness Monster. I need about tree fitty. Tree fitty. That was my favorite South Park episode, by the way. Hence the reason I need my bench at least tree fitty. Buy some Loch Ness munchies. But back off work, didn't go too bad today. It was, again, relatively heavy. I'm now up to 292.5 for 3 sets of 3 for my back off work after my heavy single. So, yeah, it's starting to feel heavier now, guys. Again, how nice will it be when I get to 300 plus for my back off work, though? How nice will it be when I get to 315 for my back off work? Who's talking about 300? Let's get to 315 for work sets. All right? That's what I'm talking about. That's where we need to be. Which, when I get to about 355, that sounds about right, doesn't it? To do triples of 315. And we'll see. It might get there this year. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I'm not going to sweat it. Yeah, it's coming along nice. But and like I said, I'm starting to definitely notice the fatigue mounting up on it at this point. It's no longer like, oh yeah, this is easy. It's very relatively challenging now, particularly doing back offs afterwards. That's the main thing. It's like if I did these fresh, honestly, the 3x3 with this wouldn't really be a challenge. It's the doing it after hitting that training max. It makes it a little tougher. But, again, as you guys can see, none of it was grindy. None of it was slow. Now my belly's popping up because I've been eating since then. I ate a bunch of beans and rice and chicken. But, I think we'll be surprised when we get to that DEXA scan coming up by the end of the month. I haven't even scheduled it yet, by the way, so people are like, when day are you going to do it? I don't know, around 90 days after the last one. You guys can go count on the calendar, but it's not going to be for at least another 2 weeks, probably 3 weeks, something in that range. Because I'm not going to do it in less than 90 days. I want a DEXA scan every 90 days, not, 85. So we'll get around the 90-day mark somewhere shortly after. And that'll give me enough time to get another one in this year, because that's the main thing. I want to get one right before New Year. So we'll see what changes we make between now and then. And I really don't know what to expect. I mean, I know I've lost fat. I know I've gained muscle. I know I weigh a little bit less. So we'll see what happens. But it's coming up. Deloading my deadlifts a little bit. It's like, let me just work my hook grip and my technique. Since I'm deloading my squats, we're just going to go light. I probably won't touch anything over 425 and just hit the hook grip every day. I won't use straps or anything so we can keep training the grip. And so that's what I did. We did the hook grip for 425 and called it a day on deadlifts. And obviously this is easy. It's not 425, guys. 425. Not supposed to be challenging. It's technique. And I'm going to have to watch. I'm going to have to really regulate my deadlifts coming up in the future. Because when you're doing this stuff every day, man, it gets to be a lot. When you're squatting heavy and doing back off work, those daily deadlifts will bury you. I'm going to have to really reel in the weight. None of this trying to do 570, 580 type stuff at the end of the week. Then dead hang pull-ups. And I kind of laughed, because I had someone try to say, oh, you only got so many pull-ups. It's like, you come do them with narrow grip from a dead hang after you deadlift. It's one thing to do them fresh. Come do them after you deadlift, bro. it's a little bit harder. Just gonna throw that out there. Even if you only deadlifted 425, trust me, they're a little bit tougher. And that's okay. I'm not trying to get 20 pull-ups here, guys. It's not necessary after I deadlift. I'm just trying to build my middle and upper back, get a little bit of stimulation there, And here's the face pulls, guys. I did some face pulls, show you guys what I do. Because, I've been an advocate of face pulls forever. You guys have seen me film them in multiple years. It's not a recent thing. For those curious how you do them, it's pretty straightforward. You grab some bands, enough that you can do somewhere between 10 and 30 reps, right? And I just did 15 on these because I did them immediately after the pull-ups. So normally I would do like 25 with this band, but I just did 15 for the camera. If you guys notice, look at the overhand grip, the way that I've got the base of my hand pointed towards the pole, and that's where it's at. That's important to get the rotation you want of the shoulder, and you pull them up to the ears. And notice I come all the way forward, and I get that stretch at the front, so it pulls all the way forward. And then when I come back, it's a squeeze up at the top. Now, I don't want to sound like a fluffy, wuffy bodybuilder, but here's what's going on. Because a lot of what you're trying to get from this exercise is at the peak contraction, and because you're using bands, it's like accommodating resistance anyways. It's like these guys who try to pretend that, the band work matters anywhere lower down. It's like, oh man, if I take 250 pounds and I add 150 pounds of band tension at the top, it's the equivalent of benching 400 pounds. No, it's not. It's the equivalent of benching about 275. That's what it is. It's accommodating resistance with this, but that's fine because on a face pull, you're really trying to work the like the external rotators of the rotator cuff and your rear delts and mid traps and all that stuff, and even the side delts and everything. And most of that's happening up at the very top, particularly the delts and the rotator cuffs. A lot of that's happening when you're up near the top. So that's where most of your resistance is. So you're almost just doing an isometric movement there anyways. So it's about just getting that little bit of squeeze at the top rather than just trying to get inertia and just swing through the rep. Because this is, again, it's just a finesse movement. It's really all it is. It's a prehab movement. It's there to bring up some little bitty, tiny muscles that might be getting underdeveloped for your overall safety and shoulder girdle stability. And that's really all it is, guys. That's all it is. It's a little tiny movement. Don't be trying to rush through it. Oh, I just need to go really fast so I can get all these reps. focus on the quality reps on it. And that's what everyone who preaches these, who's used them for years, says. That it doesn't matter who they are. Every single coach says the same thing on these who gives these to their athletes. It's pretty textbook at this point. As you guys saw, I demonstrated it. That's the way to do them. Again, if you're trying to use them as a prehab exercise. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.